Welcome back, Professor Joyce, Econ1001. This is our recitation for the class. So this is chapter 7. As you can see, I'm rolling up my sleeves here to kind of make sure we dig in. I've posted the quiz online as we do every week, and now I'm going to go through the 10 questions that I posted. And chapter 7 is the beginning of something new here. We're going to do these concepts called consumer surplus and producer surplus. And they seem a little weird in the beginning, but they have great practical utility in helping us decide whether a policy, like a tax or trade tariff or a tax on pollutants or something like that, make sense from a policy perspective. And what we're going to end up doing is we're going to end up adding up the consumer surplus, the producer surplus, to get total surplus. And surplus is a measure of well-being. So economists are going to use surplus to assess whether policies end up adding to the well-being of society or hurting the well-being of society. And we're going to measure that with these notions of surplus. So let me get started right away, and I think the concepts will start to make more sense as we dig into them. So if you're ready for question number 1, let's take a look at it. All right, I've put the table on the board here. It says refer to table 7.1. There it is right there. It says if the price of the product is $18, then total consumer surplus is. So the price of the good is $18. So let's write that. Price equals 18. So what is this notion of consumer surplus? Consumer surplus is this. There's a willingness to pay. This is what you as a consumer, if you had to pay the maximum amount to get this good, this is the amount you would pay. So for Laurie, for example, is willing to pay $50 for this particular good, whatever it is. That's her willingness to pay. That shows you how much she values this good. Now, if she can get this good for less than $50, then anything between less than 50 and the price she ends up actually paying in the market is her surplus. In other words, let's take $18, right? So $18 is what the market is charging for this particular good. Lori, if she's the last person on earth, would be willing to pay $50 for this particular good. That's how much she values this good. Okay? So we take the difference of the 50 and the 18, and that says her consumer surplus is $32. In other words, the difference between the market price, what she has to pay in the market, and what she'd be willing to pay was $32 for her. That is quite a surplus. We're going to call that a gain, right? Because this is really measuring how much she values it and how much she has to pay for it. That's a sense of her well-being in this economic context. So what the question is asked is, if the price is $18, how much are people going to buy, and what's going to be their total surplus? So to do that, we take each person and we go through it and we say, okay, Zach, Calvin. Calvin's willing to pay $10. The price is $18. Calvin's not going to buy it, right? His willingness to pay only values it at $10. If the market's charging him $18, Calvin's out. He's not going to buy. Go to Zach. Zach is willing to pay $20. The price in the market is $18, so his surplus is plus 2. The difference between the 20 he's willing to pay and the 18 he has to pay. All right, let's go over here. Audrey's next. She's willing to pay $30. All right? Market's asking her for 18. Audrey considers that a deal. Her surplus is 30 minus 18. Her surplus is plus 12. All right? We now get to Lori. Lori loves this thing, whatever it is. She's willing to pay $50. Market's asking her for 18. It's a great bargain for Lori. Her surplus is plus 32. To get the total surplus in the market, in this little 4-person market, we simply add up all the surpluses and we get 46. So the consumer surplus, the difference between what consumers are willing to pay and what they have to pay, we add it all up in this particular market, comes out to $46. You can see that the answer is C, $46. Okay? Now, let's say the price wasn't $18. That's our next question. So the question says, refer to table 7.1 again. It says, if the price of the product is $30, then total surplus is. All right, so there's 2 parts to this problem. Now we have a new price. Price has risen. Price is equal to $30. We do the same exercise again. We go person to person and see, even if they're in them, are they going to buy this? Is their willingness to pay greater than the price in the market? That's the only way they will buy this good. All right? So Calvin, willing to pay 10, price 30. Calvin says, forget it. Zach, willing to pay $20, price 30. Zach's not going to buy it. Audrey, willing to pay 30, price 30. Audrey will buy it. It's the maximum she's willing to pay, but she wants the good. It's $30. She's going to buy it. Her surplus? 0. Why? Because you take the difference between what she's willing to pay, what she actually has to pay, and that's the surplus. There is no surplus for Audrey. How about Lori? Lori's willing to pay $50, price is $30, her surplus is $20. Total surplus in society is now only $20. So there are 2 steps to these problems. First, you must figure out who's going to buy and who isn't going to buy, and that's based on the difference between their willingness to pay and the market price. And then you figure out, well, how much of a gain did that person make relative to how much they value the good as compared to what the market is asking them to pay. All right? So the answer for number 2 is $20, and the first 2 problems are done. I'm going to erase this table. We're going to come back in a minute. I'm going to put a new table up as we move on to table 3. Okay? Be right back.